My name is Trent Mikesell. I am a teacher at Nebo School District. I'm also an ELA specialist for my school district, along with teaching. Personally, as a teacher, I've used it in a couple of different ways. So one is just the basic kind of annotation tool, where I have students read through and I give them a task to just share their thoughts about what they're reading. So you can see over on the right here, this student has shared her thoughts. It's nice that you can reply to students, and I think we're going to show that a little later. For this particular assignment, I actually called her up. And what I like about Scribble is she's shared this with me into my library. So when I call the student up, I can just pull up her article and we can talk through her comments and the things she thought and just have a conversation. And it's right there. It's easy for me to pull up. So that's probably one of the more basic uses that I've used it for. A little bit more of a complex assignment that we did is I had students highlight in different colors to mean different things. So for example, things related to the claim, they highlighted in red. Things that were, that gave context for the article or gave information about just kind of what was happening in the article, they highlighted in blue. I think this person is sort of a almost purple, but that's their blue. And then yellow was evidence, so evidence that supports the claim. And then green and pink had to do with counterclaims and evidence for the other side and things that contradicted the main claim. So one of the things that's been useful for Scribble too is it allows me to check student sources. One of the things we're always focusing on is just making sure students are using credible sources, that they're using, sources from good places that are going to be reputable, that are going to give them factual information. And this allows me to kind of make sure that that's happening. So I can click on these articles and just kind of look at where they're coming from. And I can see, their sources, if they're using reputable things, or, if it's even on topic. Like, for example, this looks like a book review of some kind, which wouldn't really be what I wanted them to do for this assignment. And so even though the information in this might be factually accurate, I don't want them to use book reviews for this assignment. So I can also look and say, it kind of gives me the ability to help them understand how peer-reviewed journals work, and that they're going to be editorials and things that don't necessarily work for what they're doing for different assignments. So in Scribble, you can create different assignments for students, and then you can see their progress. So right up here, it kind of gives you an overview of students who are on target. And this was a practice thing. So in the end, it didn't really matter if they were on or off target because I was just having them practice using Scribble for the first time. But it shows me the sources in their library, if they've met the word count for their annotations. So you can set a word count and say, I want you to get at least 500 words of annotations. You can see if they've met that. And then you can click on their name and it will take you to their library. And you can see their sources. You can even go in and see their annotations. But it kind of gives you a quick overview of, oh, this student hasn't done much yet. I wonder what's going on with them. Or these students are all on task. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So one of the things that's nice is that you can have a live exchange with the student, whether they're in class or remotely. So we have a student on right now who has made a few comments for us on this article about anxiety. And I know that she's on, and so I'm going to be able to have a conversation with her about what she's reading. So I'm going to say, and now she can respond to my question and we can have a little bit of a back and forth dialogue. So as she's typing her comment back to me, one of the things that's nice about this, and I've used other programs as well, largely I've used Google Docs to have this kind of back and forth conversation, which that has, its own benefits and negatives. But what's nice about having it in here first is that I can use articles that we couldn't access in any other way, that we couldn't have this kind of conversation on. And it's just a little bit more fluid in terms of making comments and getting immediate responses. What I really like about it is just this ability to edit PDFs back and forth, to have conversations in real time and, make it very easy to do that. Or this student is reading an article, and so I could go down here and I can make a comment to her and say, I want you to pay close attention to this part. What do the percentages here mean to you? And so now she can respond to me and answer some of my questions. And what's really nice about this is, of course, this is just one student, but you can actually share your library with an entire class. So I could go through an article and highlight some things I wanted students to pay attention to and ask them some questions. And then they can make a copy of that into their own Scribble library, and they can have a back and forth dialogue with me. Or you could put students into small groups and say, I want you to have a conversation about the things I've highlighted, or highlight your own things and have a conversation. There's a lot of different ways you can make this work.